Hello YouTube, and welcome back to TimberPunk 2, where our beaver colony's surviving. Not quite thriving yet, okay? We're still in the throes of our first proper bad tide cycle, proper drought cycle. Things are not exactly in the best spot, but we're doing better on water. We're doing a lot better on food. We're doing finally better on berries, so our beaver population is growing a little bit better. However, it could be better. That's the theme for the game. So, well, at least the theme for this episode. We're going to try to make things better a little bit. So, we're going to make industry better. We're going to make storage better. We're going to make beavers better. By that I mean we're going to expand our beaver population a tad bit, because we're about to expand in ways that I'm not quite ready for, or I don't know if anybody's ever ready for any of the expansions I'm about to do. Anyway, we're going to work on that. That also means clearing out a lot of this real estate. A lot of this real estate is kind of unusable to us right now because of all of the dried out trees. Dried out trees are not good for us because they don't provide anything for us other than, well, lumber and, well, right now they're just taking up large chunks of real estate. And we kind of want that real estate so we can plant trees that are alive and food, which means that our beavers can do things like build and eat and survive. So we're going to work on that a little bit today. The problem with that, however, we don't really have much in the way of, well, bad tide. That's kind of paused right now. The bad tide turned off, or the bad water turned off because of the drought we're in the middle of. And, well, we don't have much in the way of metal blocks. Thankfully, we've got this up and running. We've got the smelter. Well, not up and running yet. We've got the smelter that we're working on right now. That's waiting on planks for that to get finished. We've got one guy or a couple guys in here working on planks for us, but their productivity is a little low. I'm not entirely sure why it's so low right now, but that's fine. We'll fix that in some way or another. And we need metal blocks for all of our fun things, like our bad water or bad water pump. And that requires 5 metal blocks. We have some metal blocks on us, but I want to kind of save those for turning this aquifer on. Or maybe not. We may not need this aquifer yet, or we'll spend those metal blocks on these steam engines. However, we only have 17 and it costs 20 here. So that's a little bit of a problem. So we will have to get this finalized. That being said, I do want to expand our industry a little bit, like I mentioned. So we're going to do that. We're going to start out first with a little bit of an industry expansion project. Not too much, just enough to kind of help out a little bit. The problem with this is we're kind of power limited in the middle of the drought. We've only got our 2 geothermal engines running. Now, this being paused means we've got an extra 400 horsepower available to us, so these can run during the rest of our 11-day drought. So that'll be one thing that we're going to be putting in here. The second thing that we want to get in is our next thing of breeding pods. So I want to expand our beaver population to at least the 30 mark. Now, it'll take a couple cycles for us to level off at that 30 range, but that will be good for us for now. And then the next thing that is on the chopping block, or not chopping block, the next thing that's on the science list is this medium tank. But the problem with this is it requires gears and planks. Guess what we're short on? Gears and planks. So that'll be a little ways out. We'll probably go ahead and unlock it just because I would like to have that ready for us as soon as we do have the industry to meet those demands and the beavers to actually fill those positions. We're kind of hurting right there. So that's kind of stinky for us, but it's okay. We'll work our way through it. We're going to go ahead and hit the play button though and get these guys back to work. And I think we're going to pause this position. They can continue to go ahead and finish emptying all of that out. And we're going to turn this guy back on over here. We're going to leave at least one beaver in the inventor's hut for as long as we can so that we can actually start working towards the stuff that we like unlocking all of our explosives, which we have 3 explosives ready for us over here in this warehouse. However, we can't really gain access to that because somebody put it right behind a set of ruins, which means we're going to have to wait until somebody gets in here, or we can get somebody in here to finish clearing the rest of that out. Now, we do have a place to store all that scrap metal now, so that shouldn't be that much of an ask. So that will be good for us. But right now, we are dealing with a minor beaver population problem, which is fine. We're doing good on water now. We're pumping all of this out, which is good for us. The more water we'll have, the better everything will be for us. And that is a beautiful thing to have. A beautiful problem to have is more water to pump out during the drought. And that should be enough. 600 units of water should be enough for 20 beavers to survive 10 days. I think. Yes. I'm mathing in my brain. I believe that is a correct statement. So we'll be good there. I'm going to pause this guy, however, and get somebody over here to get into this gatherer flag. Let them work on that. Pull that out as soon as they can. Our builders. We do have 2 builders. Should be coming over here and throwing in this industrial lumber mill. We could probably make their life a little bit easier by just drawing that line right there, so they can just go back and forth between the industrial pile and the other side without too much consternation, and that should be good. We can pull this down to 2, however, and get this unpaused over here. And check our time, because last time somebody left them working for 24 hours a day for a hot minute. We're going to try to avoid that to the best of our abilities. I did go ahead and come over here and have this one farmhouse start planting the rest of the stuff back here off screen, if you will. This is the last bit of lumber right there. This is in now, so these 4 platforms are in making it accessible for this farmhouse to reach over here and do things for us. So that is good. That means that we can have one guy planting and one guy harvesting, which means that we can actually get our food in a quasi-timely fashion, and they're not focusing on doing ridiculous things. We just turned on these 2. That's where 5 of our beavers just ran off to. Okay. That scared me. Can't do anything with that right now unless we went in here and just click this button and click that button. They should be able to reach this. And then we could turn one of these on just so we can get a few more planks running. And that would be a good thing for us, since this is just waiting on planks to finish up. Which it does have, actually, so that's not a bad thing for us. These guys have pumped this dry, however, so that is good. Which means now we've got everybody working in science, and we've got this turned on over here. I want to check the power consumption. We're at 200 demand right now, which kind of checks. We've got just the one here. That's 50. That's another 50. And then 50 here. Where's the rest of it coming from? Mathing in public is my forte. 50 plus 50 plus 50 is 150, not 200. So there's an extra bit of demand out there somewhere. This shouldn't be pulling anything off of it right now because middle of the drought. At least that's how it's supposed to work. At least that's what the devs told us was how that's supposed to work. So we'll keep an eye on that. We do have a spare beaver, so we'll pull that guy in right there, get a few more planks moving for us, so that'll be pretty good. We'll give this a plus up and get that finalized. That just needs them to smack it. That's all that's waiting on right now. And so we'll get that knocked out, which means that we can actually start getting metal blocks running, which means I probably need some storage for metal blocks in here somewhere. And I also do need to get in another barracks here. So we'll go ahead and toss that in right there. Put in our one little path right there. Maybe I want to move this back. Come on, game. Stop fighting me. That would be appreciated. Just so we can fit a few more of our happy trees in here for their viewing pleasure when they get up in the morning. Maybe we'll just put those in like that so that when they leave, they can have a beautiful view of a bush. And apparently I don't have a teeth grindstone anywhere. That's a foul on me. I am sorry, guys. Let's go ahead and put that in right there. We'll give this a plus up priority-wise. Don't know why they haven't smacked this. Can't get all required materials. Oh, it's waiting on scrap metal. I thought that that was done. Okay. Apparently, I don't know how to read a 2 versus a 3. That's on me. So, that is getting rectified now. We'll have this one beaver over here getting the last 24 pieces of scrap out of there, which means we'll clear up the spot for this reserve warehouse. We are missing a beaver that I would like to get back into science because I think I need 600 science to unlock explosives, but I don't think I really want to do that right now. I think I want to save up for our number cruncher, but I also want to save up for our steam engine because we don't have the power to charge or run any of those systems right now. We do have a spare beaver, so we are going to get gears running again. We should have plenty of storage space for gears floating around in here, so that is good. We've cleared out a fair portion of this area over here, so that is good for us to see, which means that we can start working on expanding our storage back here, which is what we are going to do. And then on the other side over here, we'll put in all of our warehouses as opposed to our industrial piles. I think what we need here is we need 6, so we've got 8. Well, we'll do 6 for now. That's fine. That'll meet the intent. So we'll do lumber there, do planks there, scrap metal there, metal blocks there, sparkly planks there, and then dirt here for no other reason than we'll need it eventually, a place to store it anyway. We'll just wrap this around the backside, wrap this all the way around back here, and that will be good for now. Maybe we can remove this right there. What did that give us? That gave us scrap metal. Interesting. I did not know that gave us scrap metal, but now I do. That's pretty neat, actually. That's actually really neat. I did not know that that provided scrap metal for us. Cool. This did drop, which stinks because water gone. Water did water things and stopped doing watery things for us. This has 1.6 days remaining. Hopefully we can get somebody over here to, or actually, why say hope? Let's have them focus on kohlrabi for now, since that's what is currently expiring. We'll have them work on that, get that ripped out, and you can focus on whatever you need to focus on to keep things up and running. We shouldn't lose any of our berries because they still have 8.5 days, and we are only 3.5 days remaining for that. You can be paused, however, because there's nothing left for you to do. We can put in our staircase right here, which means we should gain access to that and summarily gain access to ripping that blockage out, which means we should, well, let's go ahead and rip this down. How did that actually come along? Oh, it popped off in the middle of a drought, so of course this didn't spill anything out. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that in the future. All right, so let's rip this down a little bit further. So you're just a blockage, you're a blockage as well, so we need to get you demolished. And once this is out of the way, we can build a staircase over the top and into here, which means we gain access to all of this scrap metal. And maybe a little bit more water storage back in here, which is pretty neat. Some planks, nothing too cosmic about any of that. More water storage. What is all this back here? Is that actually... No, that's just blocked off. Okay, cool. Cool story, bro. Hopefully there's not a random explosive in here. I see you, you little turd. What the heck? There's a random explosive right there. You turd. That is not nice. That, wait, where did... That's gonna... That's just evil. That is just beyond evil. But, okay, there's a place for this water to go. It already exists. There's an outlet this way, so that's fine. Just means we don't get access to any of that bad water anymore. But we're going to have to get in here, rip all this out, and give it an easy exit. How long? It's not even ready to pop yet. That's just dirty. That's mean. That is next level, just pure evil. I love it. That's really cool. I like that little end stick right there. I didn't expect to find it. It was like, man, it would really suck if there was something right here. And there was. You stinking darn it. Okay. We'll have to keep that in the back of our nugget too. Keep that. Somebody write that down in the comments. You know, remember the day when you found that one explosive that was going to completely ruin your entire ruins expedition. We're going to have to find a way up here. Force this water to go somewhere else. And getting up here is such a pain. You guys realize how much of a pain it is rip through these thorns. I think you go through like 6 beavers in one thorn patch alone, which is absolutely diabolical. Okay, we do need to pause a couple of these guys. Probably a few more than a couple, honestly. You want to get the water up and running, though, because we are running out of that. And we also want to go ahead and put in a few of our medium tanks because we have the capacity to do so now. So we can put one medium tank in right there, and we can fit in another medium tank back here. Go ahead and can we copy this? We can copy this. Right? Did that work? Yes, it did. Okay, cool. So that'll give us a little bit more water to store up. That's another 600 units of water to keep our beavers going for a period of time. We are doing good on beaver population. We've still got 9 more positions in our housing available to us. Now that this is... I don't think this is really required anymore. We'll go ahead and rip that out. Go and rip that out. I think we can probably go ahead and rip this out as well. We can clear out a little bit more of this pathway back in here. Clear this pathway out and that out. And now we can start expanding our total storage. And we'll go ahead and move these guys over here. And pause these two once we're ready. Don't really want to tear that out. We do have the storage running for us, though, so that is good. Do I not have those marked? I do not have those marked. So I want these cleared out so we can wrap this path around this backside and get us a little bit more storage back here, which would be great for us in the long haul. But we can go ahead and start prepping this area back here and do the same on this side here. And pause those 2 positions, have them come over and tear out those logs for us, which they'll use to automatically build all these warehouses for us, which is a good thing. We can store up more berries, more kohlrabi, more cassava, more... We can start storing soybeans, but we don't really have much in the way of soybeans in the first place, or a place to actually plant the soybeans right now, so that's fine. Get more storage for cassava there, sure, why not? And then more base cassava, that's fine. Okay. That one tree is very precariously placed. Do I have this marked for cutting? I do not, so let's go ahead and mark that for cutting real quick. Somebody should be able to reach that without too much consternation, and that'll be good. All right, how are we doing water-wise? Water's doing good. This is nice and full. I think we could probably rip these deep water pumps out. However, I don't really want to do that right now. Why is this going or filling in so slowly? It's not because we're pumping it out as fast as it's getting pulled in, right? Or pumped in? Because that'd be ridiculous. I don't think we have the beavers to do that. But they did get in our one medium tank, our second medium tank, so we do have a little bit more water capacity. 1290 is really good, and then is fantastic. Did they get this cleared out? They did, so that can go away. That's cleared out. That can go away as well. We'll go ahead and put in our next medium warehouse and put that in right there. That'll be beautiful. You are going to be... I want to start working towards canola. That should be our next area to work on, and you guys have nothing to do with your hands. Don't know how far over you can reach, but you can reach a fair portion of that, so you can keep working on all of that. This is where we're going to probably be very concerned with the future poo water running through, but this gives us an idea as to how far that is going to spread the negative irrigation, so that is good for us to keep in the back of our mind. We do have a little bit more power running over this system right now, since we do have the compact water wheels running properly. That means we can at least turn one more plank manufacturer back on, and I do want to get in more storage for planks, because those are going to be pivotal in our future efforts, because we are going to have to get up here at some point. And I do also want to go ahead and flip that around right there, and then that should give us a little bit more clearance into that area, so we can take out a few more bits of that scrap back here. And we do have a spare beaver available to start working on that. Hopefully. Theoretically. I do kind of want to get over here and get these cleared out. That also means losing a few of our beavers to carrying out the thorns, which I'm not a fan of doing. Why is this going so slow? I am genuinely concerned, because there's no way these three guys are enough to actually cause this big of an issue for everybody. I'm going to assume that's probably what's going to happen. However, I don't think that should be happening like that. It should be enough juice in there to fill this up pretty good. But we'll let that keep running. I'm confident we'll have enough water moving forward. Well, actually, you know what? Let's get some more beavers over here. Just max these priority positions out and probably pull down or pause that guy, just so we can make sure we're not losing anybody to anything. We do have an injured beaver. That stinks. Let's pause you. I want this to fill up during the last day of the temperate cycle before the drought kicks off. And we'll pull this out, or pull these guys out of here as soon as that is done. Now we've got a spare beaver available to us. Not sure where you were working. Were you working on this? You were working on that, and now all of those trees are gone. So that's on me. That's entirely on me. I am terrible. This is a really big issue. I hate not having access to all of this real estate right here, just because of the bad water. All right, science-wise, we're doing pretty good. We're at 626. So in theory, we could get into explosives factory, but it's another 600 science for the dynamite, and then it's another another hot minute before we can actually gain access to the deep bad water pump, which is another 250 science. And all of our poo water is running out the edge over here, so that's not really helpful to us at all. This actually worked as advertised, so that is good. We probably had a little bit of spillage over the edge, but it probably just ran right into here and right on out of there. We should, at some point, come over here and put a little dam in here so we can store a little bit of this bad water up so that we can pull this out during droughts, which we do have a 15-day drought running right now. I do need to tell you guys to stop focusing on kohlrabi and focus on all of the things so we can get foodstuffs going again, because somehow we have only 67 kohlrabi and 8 fermented cassavas, which there's a poop ton of cassavas right here, just not getting plucked out. So I would like you guys to go ahead and, you know, fix that, if you know what I mean. So we'll let them work on that. We do have a spare beaver moving about the cabin. Make that 2 spare beavers. 3 spare beavers moving about the cabin. We'll get them in here to pump the rest of that out. That'll give us another probably 300 or 400 units of water, which is totally fine. We still do have the 1 spare beaver. So we can get building up and running a little bit. We do have these guys bored out of their mines over here as well. So that is good. It means we could start pumping our way this way. That gets us closer to all this lumber on this end, which is good. Get those 2 in. Go ahead and mark all this for cutting, which is going to be grand. I don't know how far these guys had access to, so they can get all the way back to here. That's good. You can throw in a set of stairs real quick right there, which means they have access to all that, which means we can go ahead and set this all up for cutting up there too. So that will be glorious. That'll be fantastic. You should have paused, so that means that we could probably turn this back on and get more planks up and running. Now, we have gears, we have planks running, which is fantastic. These guys are going to continue to pump the rest of this out. I do want to expand water storage again in preparation for our fluid dump mechanic that we are going to take advantage of, which is a little ways off. I'm torn right now, and I'll let you guys know I'm torn on which way to go with this. Do we blitz towards all of those things, or do we wait the extra 800 for the extra 800 science to get the number cruncher up and running, which requires an additional 400 science, right? So it's 1900 science to get that up and running for us to very quickly gain access to all the things that we need to unlock. I'm leaning towards the blitz, towards the number cruncher. I think that's probably the smarter answer. So let's do that. We're going to do that. We're going to just go ahead and fill all of that in. That gives us something for our beavers to do during the drought when they don't really have much in the way to do anything. I'm just now realizing that I let these guys pump this water out a little bit too long. So we're going to lose a fair portion of our kohlrabi back here pretty soon, which kind of sucks. They got these up and running, though, pretty quickly, which means I need to just click this button, copy and paste that across the way. That should have worked. Now we are only missing those 4. All right, we're going to pull that down to the one beaver so we can get 4 science huts running at the same time, which means 4 science per hour. Which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much, but it is something, so that is a good thing. I will take that for the dub that it is, even if it isn't much of one. You can probably work on all of the rest of this, though, and we'll get all of the rest of this cleared out. Going to get this ready to go up here as well. That is in. Scrap metal is moving, so that is good. Building lacks workers. That's going to be all 3 of our inventors' huts because we lost a beaver somewhere. However, we've got these 4 with nothing to do with their hands, so they can go be inventors again, which means we have a spare beaver to go back in there and fill that position for us so we can get a few more things built up and ready to rock and roll, which is glorious, which is fantastic, which means I now have 5 people working in the inventor's huts, which means 5 per hour, which is half of what we would get if we had one of our number crunchers running. That also requires 500 horsepower, which we don't really have right now either. So we'll take that for what it is, okay? We'll get there hopefully by the end of this drought. Let's see. We do have a fair amount of planks up and running, so I think we can pause that guy and get this guy back up and running and tearing out more of these planks back here, or more of these trees back here for us. Means that we can go ahead and mark all of this for cutting. I'm not too concerned about cutting into gaining access to all of these piles of logs back here. Same for this back here. This is kind of worthless real estate for us back here until we can find a way to divert all of the bad tide that is running through this sector, which isn't going to happen for a hot minute. So that will have to be what it is. I do think that we're probably going to have to invest in a fluid dump, though, because I don't like the fact that we are not in a good spot. Why haven't they planted this back here? Don't quite understand why they haven't planted that. I know that these guys are the planters, and these guys... Let's swap that guy over real quick. And we'll just do that right there, and hopefully somebody will come over here and plant those. This can go away, though, because that is no longer a needed position, which means we can already go and fill in the rest of these kohlrabi back here. And we'll swap these two out like that, and things are going to look great. Alrighty then. Beautiful, beautiful, not so beautiful is the fact that our foodstuffs are kind of limited. I want to pause you, get you in there to help with that, and you in there to help with that. We have so much food just sitting here not being taken advantage of, which is not a good thing, because we're kind of dipping into our berries, which is not what we want to see. We don't like dipping into our berry supplies, because those are kind of required for, you know, growing our beaver population. And I like to have the beaver population exploding and not doing the opposite of exploding. Just petering out. Yeah, we don't want our beaver population to peter out. That's just sad. We can go ahead and maybe put some more of our berries up here. Don't know how green that will stay during the period when we're just reliant on what's in these little pockets of water, but it's a good thing, or it'll be a good enough spot to get things moving, and they are pretty heavily drought resistant, so they should stay alive long enough for them to not have to be replanted in the near future. But things are looking good. We have cleared out a large swath of our real estate back here, which is fantastic for us. Just now realizing that they never did actually come in here and tear this out for us. So we'll just have one of our builders come rip that out, and that'll be good for us. I do feel like I should have moved all of this storage this way, because this is where our bad water runs through. And this real estate isn't really the best for planting. All of this real estate is pretty ripe for planting. Especially when we get this running, we've got explosives to punch over here and do explosive things for us. Maybe that's something that we'll think about doing. Not much stored over here. And I think we're going to do that, honestly. I don't dislike this idea. We're just going to put in these guys. Connect that up. You guys can rip all of that out. We lose a few of our science positions, but actually, no, that's fine. 4 science positions up and running should be more than enough to meet the intent there. Planks are doing pretty good, though. Pretty solid. We have 80 gears up and running, and we're doing decent on our lumber, which is fantastic. Kind of want to get in here and have them demolish this one set of thorns. Or not. Nope, nope, don't play with it. Don't play with it. Just, it's a terrible idea. Don't listen to me. We're not going to do that. We're not going to play with the thorns. I want to, but I know what it does to our do that. So I don't think we will. We can, however, get a lumberjack flag in right there and have them work through the rest of this. Then we can sneak back in here and snag those planks. I would want to get those planks out of here because that can go towards our stockpile back over here, which would be good for us. All right. Industrial piles. Let's go ahead and put these over here. I want to move them. 2, 3, 4. No, I need them not to be in the way of them tearing out trees. Choices. Also, I think... Yeah, that didn't hold up near as well as I thought it would. That stinks. Nope, that's not what I wanted you to do. How much is this? 250. Sets us back 5 days worth of science, right? No, not 5 days. About 2.5 days worth of science. Doing quick math in my brain ball. I don't know. We could set up other means of irrigation like this. And that's not a bad use of our materials. And that means that we'll get a little bit more irrigated back here. Keep all this alive. Yeah, it's not going to reach the blueberries, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the fluid dump. Now, we got 500 units of water floating around for us. That's more than enough to meet the demand for all of that. We'll go ahead and get that tossed in as well. Turn this into water for us. And that should, in theory, save our... well, the kohlrabi are all going to die right there, but maybe we can replant and have a positive flow of foodstuffs again. Again, what is happening with all this cassava over here? I swear I turned you guys back on to none. I did. It just feels like they're not working very optimally together. These guys are too focused on just working on kohlrabi. You know what? Let's get them just focus on cassavas. Work on cassavas, guys. That's the #1 priority right here. Numero uno priority. Please. That would be cassavas. That provides us the biggest bang for the buck as far as total foodstuffs is concerned, and that is what we want to see. Now, how are we doing elsewhere? This is clearing out nicely. They've got a few more logs left to pull out. I don't want to rip out all of these thorns, but again, that's not a good thing for us to do. We could work our way up here properly, but I'm not quite sure if I'm ready for that level of commitment. You know, I have some commitment issues with crawling into the abyss of the thorns. Look at all of these thorns, guys. Look at all of them. They're just everywhere. They cover everything. We're going to have to just send waves of bots up there to deal with that. Waves upon waves upon waves of bots to just clear out all of those thorns that are everywhere up there. That is insane. That's for us to work towards later. For now, we're just trying to save our trees and our blueberries to the best of our ability. You know, we're gonna save the blueberries. Save the blueberries, save the cheerleader, save the world, right? That's how that works. I feel as though that's how that works. I'm gonna pretend that's how that works in my head. So if you don't like that, then, well, we can have a talk about that later, you know? If you don't want to save the blueberries, save the cheerleader, save the world, then what are your priorities, huh? What are we doing with our priorities? Clearly, they're all not in the right spot, okay? Clearly, they're not all in the right spot. And I'm sad for you. I'm just sad. Sad for you. Additionally, one more point of contention that I have moving forward is this whole mess right here. So this is a dormant pile of bad water source, right? There's not many places for it to go. We can force it to go backwards, but again, thorns, they're everywhere. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to have the capacity to dam this entire area up and just force it to go back that way. And I think the thorns even have a level of like irrigation blocking capability, like half level dams maybe. Maybe I'm completely losing my mind there, but I feel like that's a true statement. So if I'm not, let me know and I will correct that accordingly. But I feel like it's a true statement. We do want water moving again though, because that's going to be good for us. We're already down to 200 units of water. How did this do? That did not irrigate any of that. That sucks. But it did save a little bit of our trees here, so that's good. We like to have our trees. You can be paused now. We do also want to give these guys a little bit of an easier bit of access to the other side. Just so that these guys can go store some water, I guess, on this end. Why not? Sweet. I'm going to pull these guys back to 16 hours, so the 8 hours when nothing is happening over here is doing the nothing thing. We can be storing up more water in this cistern or this reservoir, which would be good for us. Okay, we're at 1,400 units of science, 1,408. You are bored, so we can get science moving properly again. That puts us at 3 units or 3 science guys running right now, which is good for us. We can also get up here and snag 200 more science, and I don't know if they'll be able to reach that from one level below. If they can, great. If they cannot, that stinks. Give that guy one more thing to work towards, and you can work a little bit more of that. That'll be a good thing for you. Give you a few more trees to chop on back here. I don't think he can reach any of that back there. Maybe he can reach a little bit. Still too far from district to reach, so it does have to be, they do have to be on the same level. But now you should be able to get up there and rip those trees out for us. Nothing to do within range over here, which means I get another beaver in to work science for us. Now we still do need an additional 400 science to unlock the steam engine. And that means we are 500 science away from doing that. However, we do have 200 right here. That'll be good. It'll put us in a better spot. There was another thing of science floating around somewhere up here. We don't really have ease of access to that. We do have a bunch of planks floating around. We could, in theory, crawl up there and get to that. And like I said, I do need to get up here at some point. Did this not do the things? I thought you were supposed to turn on. Does that only turn on when something up here turns on? Huh. Was I just... Okay, whatever. I'm not upset by this. Maybe it's only during the bad tide that kicks out. I don't know. I thought they worked a little bit more aggressively than that. I thought they ran during temperate cycles and bad tides. Okay, well, that's something for me to keep an eye on. There's 1,500 science right there. We still need another couple hundred more. This gives us access to the next 200 for us, so that gets us to 1,700, which means we are only 200 shy. So by the next day, we should be able to take advantage of this real estate over here, because we have all of this that's basically unusable for us. And maybe we'll do that. We'll move all of our industry over to the poo side of the river. I think that. I feel like that's a good spot to put all of our industry in the poo side of the river. And it's not doing anything else for us. We could even put even more water wheels in here. That'll be good during the bad tides. You know, fair amount of juice, and we could squeeze that juice for everything it's worth. Darn it! I feel like I love that. And where are we gonna put all of our engines? Maybe we put the engines back here somehow, or even, yeah, back along here. I feel like that's a good spot for the engines. We just run the power this way, and then over here, and industry can be on this side somehow. I'm not entirely sure how I want to run that, but that'll be a good thing there. We are 19 units shy, or 19 science points shy of all of that. And I do want to get another builder in there. Or not builder, but wood lumberjack. Lumberjack, words. I know the English language. We do have our bad tide about to pop off. So we're going to plus up the work hours just a little bit more, so that we can pump out as much of this as we can before the... Well, do we need to do that? No. We don't need to do that. We really don't. This is going to fill up as much as it can. If it fills up a lot, then great. We can pump out one more 8 hours of water. Irrigation, or words. I know them. I know how to speak them. Evaporation isn't going to be enough to be a problem for us over there. But we have 68 metal blocks. We have 119 gears, and we have 257 planks. Means, well, we don't need the planks, but we have all the things that we need. We don't really have much water to meet the entirety of the demand for this whole shtick over here. However, this is a good starting point for our power requirements on this end. So we're going to go ahead and get this in. We shouldn't need to adjust anything on our side. And those 3 will go in. These 4 will go in. We only need 2 up and running to power our number cruncher, which does require 100 gears. So we do need to plus up our gear production a tad bit. These all require 25. So yeah, we're about to... I should have thought about that. That's entirely on me. This 400 units of power is basically useless for us right now. So let's go ahead and get somebody in a gear workshop over here. Maybe times 2. And that'll just connect in right there. We can just throw this path right there. Just realized that was terrible placement on all of the grounds there. So let's go ahead and rectify that. Flip that there. Flip this around. Flip that right there. And that should meet the intent now. We can pull back on the science for a little bit. I'm not too concerned about pushing science much further, much harder than it is right now. I do, however, want to see what we can do about a little bit more of our compact. That's 52, 67, 81. We could probably get a little bit more power out of this. 90 right there. Not bad. 49, 80. We could connect that in somewhere. I feel like that's a tad bit unnecessary. In the future, when we have enough juice or bad water to get in here to dam up or pump that out and start getting explosives moving, then we can do something with that. Come on, Kane. Thank you for the autosave. Do want to get this in, though. Make sure I put dams in instead of levees. I did. Okay. Gives us there to there, which means we gain access to that. We have all of you sat on your bums because nobody's come over to help clear you out. which will happen eventually. I do want to get somebody into there, and I want to pause you guys. This should stay up a little bit longer, and this is a relatively simple and or short bad tide. Only 7 days, 6 to 9 days worth of a bad tide. I'm not concerned about that in the least. I can live with that for about a millennia and a half. Okay, you guys, I don't know why you haven't told me you have nothing to do with your... Oh, because you do have something to do with your hands. Okay, that's fine. Just know where to store it. And where are builders? Busy. There's only one of them. That would be why. Things are moving slowly. There's only one. Now there are 4. We'll give this a plus up. Give this a plus up, priority-wise. We'll drop this one, or this, priority-wise as well. And we'll go ahead and unlock our number cruncher. And put that... probably back here and out of the way. I feel like that's a good spot for it to be. Back and out of the way. Right here. And we'll have to run power to it. Like this. We'll put the last piece in when they're able to accommodate that. Now that's another 25 metal blocks, which we are burning through 80. So we need 105 metal blocks total. We have 54, which is not enough to do the things that we want to do. This takes a hot minute to get through. We're doing decent on scrap, but that's not going to meet the requirements or meet the demand that we have. You are slowly working your way through all that. Our log storage is actually getting pretty full, isn't it? Yeah, log storage is full everywhere. Okay, do we move this? I think the answer is yes. I feel like that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's have this butt up against the edge. Back here. We do... should meet the intent there. We want to give it a nice 2 across, yeah. And pull that out. We're going to have to give them a path to continue working all of this back here. I don't know if I'll be able to accommodate that forever. I can't accommodate that forever. We're going to have to pull this out. Well, what am I doing? I need to go through here, right? Duh. There. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Sweet. Now we do this. 4, 5. Beautiful. That lets us start stacking in here and building with our beautiful stairs and our spiral staircases when we want to, and start stacking these on top of each other. Let's go ahead and just start filling these in appropriately. We want sparkly planks, scrap metal, metal blocks, probably more metal blocks, more scrap metal, more planks, and probably more planks. And I think we need to tell them to empty these out, and we might even burn some of our planks to start working our way up here. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. That goes away. You're a staircase right there, and you go away. You're also a staircase right there. That means that you get to go in right there. You get to come all the way across. You are all the way across like that and like that. And then you get connected. Pull this down so we can see what else we're doing. And that means this pathway gets connected right there. And let's copy and paste all of that below. Do this. In preparation for future storage requirements and the fact that we're about to tear all this out. So let's go copy there, copy there, copy there, copy there. I do love this copy and paste function. I just foobarred that. That's fine. I think we needed the metal blocks there anyway. And whatever. That should work. Now we have a place for water to be, or bad water to be stored up, so that'll be good for us. We do have metal, or we have more gears running for us. We don't have more scrap metal being turned into metal blocks for us. And you guys, your productivity is pretty low. Why is it so low? We have scrap metal over here. We have the capacity for you to do the things. Maybe it's time for some haulers up in here. I think the answer to that is yes. We'll give that a max priority. We'll pull this down workforce to 3. And we'll probably pull the inventor's huts out. Do need to drop this priority-wise. Yeah, we'll pause the inventor's huts. We won't destroy them just because there's a potential for us to need that in the future. In case this takes too long and we need something like yesterday to fill in or go somewhere else and do something else. I'm also realizing that the drought or the bad tide's almost done and I need water again. Means you get paused, you get turned on, you get turned on, you get turned on, and let's do you, and you. 7 positions going unfilled, and that means those guys get pulled down. You need to triple check that these guys are all max priority positions, which they should be. Where can I steal another body? That is the question. Building likes workers. Okay, it's the hauling post that just popped off. We're going to pull that down priority-wise, and maybe even snag a body from something that doesn't need to be going on. Probably this guy over here. We get somebody hauling, because that's going to be good for us. We want haulers. Haulers are grand. Haulers are fantastic. They make the world go around. Allegedly. Alrighty then. So I think we kind of met the intent for today's chaos. We got industry moving a little bit more. We got future industry moving in a positive direction. We have a lot of this area cleared. We've got storage that we're moving because I put the storage in a terrible spot because this is where we kind of want to put a lot of other stuff. And so that's something that I'll have to work out. And I kind of want to figure out a way to run this power a little bit less ugly around here. But that's something for me to figure out in the future. Things are looking grand. Things are looking fantastic. We're not in dire straits yet either. However, for some strange reason, these guys are just not doing foodstuffs right. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really, 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 really don't get it. Because we're out of food, even though there's so much kohlrabi right here. Alright, that'll be something for me to fix next time, guys. As our beaver population alert pops off right there, and we have something that's about to blow. So I'm going to pause the game. Thank you guys for coming in. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you did, please hit that like button. If you didn't already, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate that as well. You guys are appreciated for being here and for being you. Keep rocking the free world, and we'll catch you on the next episode of... oh my God, something else is about to happen. I'm out. See you!